Good morning. It's me again, your favorite liver, right? Am I your favorite yet? I've been so consistent. I'm so proud of myself. And as I went to bed last night, I was feeling very overwhelmed, very anxious, very tired. All the things that happen when you're working like multiple full-time jobs and have a lot on your plate. And it just made me think about being a people pleaser. And it made me say, hello. It made me say, why do I take on all the things I take on? So many people last night, because we had a soccer meeting, were just like, I don't know how you do it. And then I was like, I don't do it well. Like, I just have so many balls in the air and one's going to drop. And why is that? And that's because I like to please people. Okay. So if you're a people pleaser, drop people in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. Make sure you say hello and good morning, whether you're catching the replay or here with me live. I always like to go back and read through the comments. Okay. So if you are a people pleaser, drop the word people in the comments below. Okay. So I looked it up and I was like, what are some ways that I personally can work on not saying yes to everyone, not worrying about people's approval, not trying to make everyone love and like me? So, what are some tools that I can put into place? And so, I have 5 that I want to share with you that I think are really good. Okay. So, let's just start at the top. Okay. So what are some of the things that I do? So I am a school teacher. Are we back? I think we're back. Nope, it's paused. There we go. Connection is unstable. Okay, we're good now. Whew. So being a school teacher, I do high school math, and not a lot of people like math. Not a lot of students like math. Not a lot of parents are good at math. And I wasn't good at math in high school, but I had a really good math teacher that helped the light bulb click on. And so that's what made me want to become a teacher. And so one thing that's really hard for me, it's really hard for me when the students don't like me. So, students don't like homework. Students don't like when you hold them to a high expectation all the time. Students don't like when they don't understand something and they get frustrated, right? And so I am trying to create these lesson plans, but also give them practice at home, but not too much practice at home and all these things. So that way they'll like me and maybe in return start to like math a little bit more. Maybe I'll create some math teachers in the future just because of the way that I teach. And then kids go home and of course they tell their parents what we do in class. So if they had a good experience in class, they're going to share good things. If they had a bad experience in class, they're going to share bad things. And I felt really bad because yesterday I was just going around picking on people like, hey, what's the answer to this? What's the answer to this? Because I wanted to make sure everyone had it. And I know that there was one girl that I really made feel uncomfortable and put her on the spot. And I really tried to set her up for success. But she was just one of those moves like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And I was like, well, we gotta know, we gotta know. Like, let's start at the very beginning, And I know that I didn't set well, I tried my best to set her up for success, but also she should have known and she didn't know. So then I tried to help her. And then, by the end of it, she did get the right answer. But like I put her in a very uncomfortable situation. I hate doing that, So what's she gonna do? She's gonna go home and tell her mom, maybe she hates math. Hopefully she doesn't like embellish what actually happened or whatever, right? And so then parents get a view of me, and then I might get parent emails and aren't very happy because maybe they don't like me. And so then I try and fix that. And like I'm constantly just trying to fix things to please people. Okay. And that's just in teaching math for like the last 2 weeks, right? And then I am also a soccer coach. I want my players to like me. I want my parents' players to like me. I'm also the tournament coordinator. I want the teams that are coming to the tournament to have a good experience. I have people messaging me, asking me for extra discounts, asking me to work with this schedule, asking me to work with these players. And so I'm trying to please all of them there. And then I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I'm trying to please my husband. I'm trying to please my kids. And so like I'm constantly like people pleasing all of the time. And can I get an amen that it can be very overwhelming? And if we're not careful, we're going to burn ourselves out. We're going to run ourselves into the ground. And nobody needs that. I don't need that. You don't need that. Okay. So, number one is you've got to set boundaries. And so, one thing that I've done for myself, and I'm like OCD type A personality, if you cannot tell already, um, I have the motto, I've always had the motto, if I want something done right, I've got to do it myself. And so I have to change that, right? If I don't change that, then I end up doing everything and I don't allow other people to grow or other people to learn, or, we can learn to love each other by serving each other. And if I don't let other people do things for me, then they can't love me and I can't love them even more in return. Okay. And so setting boundaries. So a couple of boundaries that I've set is I didn't even bring home my computer the last 2 days. Like I'm like, listen, I have a prep hour. I'm going to do as much as I can. I work really hard while I'm at school, but like I only have a certain amount of time at home and I need to make sure that that time is for my family. And so a boundary that I've set for myself on most occasions is to not bring my schoolwork home. And last time I worked, I would bring it home all of the time and I would just constantly, it would consume my life. I'm not checking my email when I'm at home. I'm not working on lesson plans unless if I really have to while I'm at home, right? And so those are some boundaries that I've set there. In practice, we start on time, we end on time. We work hard while we're there, right? And learning to say no. Last night, I did the soccer meeting for the whole parents. And at the end, somebody was giving me the sign in sheets. And I said, this is not something that I need to be in charge of. You can give it to somebody else because this is something that all they need to do is give it to the right person. I don't need to be that person. There's a lot of other people that can help. And so I said no to that. I also, I had to say no to roller derby, which is something that I enjoy, but in this time in my life, it's not something that I can continue to participate in because I just don't have the time, the brain capacity. I can't afford to get hurt. And so I had to say no to that. And so I'm just learning to say no and set my boundaries and realize like what are some things that I can delegate to other people and allow them to serve me and help me. And then what are some things that I actually do need to do myself. And so setting those boundaries has definitely helped me not be a people pleaser and allow people to please me. And so that's number one. Number two is practice assertiveness. Now, this is really hard for me because then when I do let people help me and then they don't do the job that I want, then I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. And then I just do it myself, right? I am not allowing them to serve me in the way that I need to be served. And I mean, even just saying that makes me feel like conceited, but it's true. I want to serve people in the way that they want to be served. So I need to allow people to serve me in the way that I need to be served. And I got a VA probably back in March, a virtual assistant who lives in the Philippines. He's amazing. Jay, if you're watching this, I'm so grateful for you. But this was a way that I had to practice delegation and practice assertiveness. I can no longer do all the things that I want to do effectively and well because there's just not enough hours in the day. So I was able to delegate and give him some things. And so he's making posts on my business page. If you see those are Jay. He's amazing. He's helping me send out like first time connection messages. So then that way when people respond, then I can have a genuine connection. But I don't have time to reach out to every single person. And I want to connect with every single person, but I don't have time to send that initial message. And so he's been doing that for me. And so I've been asking him to make these posts, been asking him to send these messages. And at first it didn't look like me. It didn't sound like me. It didn't feel good to me. And I let it go for a little while because I'm like, oh, let him do his thing. Let him do his thing. But then I was like, no, like this thing is my thing and it needs to be what I want it to be. And so I was able to, have this conversation. He's like, thank you so much for letting me know. Like, this is noted. I can do that. And it made me feel empowered that I can be assertive, that I can voice my opinions on others, that I can set expectations when people are doing things for me. And so practice assertiveness. So whether that's in your family, whether that's in a church group, whether that's in a project that you're doing or a committee that you're a part of. Sorry, this hair is just out of control. But practice assertiveness. And if you're like me, I'm very assertive when it comes to certain things, but I'm also very hesitant when it comes to other things. And so just practicing that, building that muscle is going to really help you to stop becoming a people pleaser and allow people to start pleasing you. Okay. And I think that's huge. Number three is to practice self approval. A lot of times we decide to be a people pleaser because we want their approval. We want them to like us. We want to feel welcome and part of a group. Right. And so we have to work on self approval and even just self celebration. There are a lot of times where I do something that I think is totally awesome and totally cool, and no one's there to shout me out. So I'm like, like this kind of stinks, right? But I can shout myself out and I can be so proud of myself. So like one thing I did this summer is I got my D license, for coaching. And, I went through all of the courses. I completed all of the assignments. I did a whole bunch of in-persons. I learned and I grew so much. And, my husband's like, woo, good job. Like, that's just my husband, so what do I do? Like, I make a post about it. I posted my stories. I shout myself out at our, soccer meetings, and I posted on our soccer website that I like get to go post on it myself, and like just celebrate myself, because number one, not everybody knows all the good things that you're doing, but number two, you don't need somebody else to shout you out. Like if you did something, it should be for yourself. And I know that too, like when I'm serving somebody, you don't always need to be congratulated for service, but how does that make you feel inside? How does that make you grow? How does that make you change? What kinds of things did you learn? And that's to be celebrated. Okay. So I know that sometimes maybe we can get discouraged that, oh, well, I did this for that person and they didn't even say thank you. It doesn't matter. Like that's an outside source. Like, what are you going for? You're going for their approval. You're going to please them, but please yourself. And so I think that that is a very valuable tool, something that you can learn, something that you can incorporate is practice self-approval by celebrating yourself. Okay. Number four is identifying triggers. So I get around certain people that I want to please, right? I get in certain situations where I want to make sure I'm delivering the best and doing the best that I can. And so one thing that I learned to realize is to recognize those situations and identify those triggers early. So that way, when I get and put in those positions, I already have a game plan. Like I have plan A, plan B, plan C. Like I know what I'm going to do in this situation. And so I went to the soccer meeting last night under the impression that like I'm the one that's up top speaking. I'm the one that put together the presentation. I'm the one who's doing the after test for the parents who missed it. I'm the one who's sending out the reminders. I'm the one who's doing all of these things. And I did want to do a cleat exchange where parents could bring in their old cleats. They could get new ones if they wanted to. And that way it could help people who maybe couldn't afford them. So I wanted to do a cleat exchange. And so I brought the big tub in there and I said, I will not get stuck with this duty at the end. And I made sure that somebody delegated who was going to do what. And, other parents showed up. And then when it was time to leave, I said, I'm not taking that bin. Somebody else can do it and they can take it to the shed. That's not something I need to do. So it kind of goes around with setting boundaries. But I knew I was putting myself in a position that was going to trigger me where I was going to take on everything. And so I had a game plan going in. I said, I'm bringing this shoe bin, but I will not bring it home. And I didn't, and I'm proud of myself for that. So shouting myself out, right? And so identify your triggers, set yourself up a game plan before you get into a situation, have some backup plans, have a support system if you need to, like let somebody know like, hey, when I get here, do not, like sometimes I do this at the board meeting. I'm like, kick me under the table if I open my mouth, because there's so many needs that need to get done and I'm not the only one that can do them. And so I need to let other people step up. And so I tell them, I'm like, hey, when I go like this, that means I have an idea, but I'm not going to say it, so I have to identify those triggers. Okay. And then the last thing, number 5 is be honest. And this is another thing I'm working on. Like I said, all these things are things that I'm personally working on and need help with. But be honest, like be honest with yourself, be honest with others. Yes. I've been very, very overwhelmed and frustrated with school because my teacher morals do not align with a lot of the things that they're not a lot, but with some of the things that they're asking me to do. And when my morals don't align, which is the whole reason my last company, after being there for 7.5 years, is because my morals don't align. And if my morals don't align, it's not an environment that I can thrive in. It's not a place where I can find myself being successful, because I have to be completely aligned. And when it comes to education, I believe that kids should have multiple chances. I believe that kids can learn from their mistakes, but I believe ultimately that your grade should reflect the knowledge of the content. Okay. Like that is my moral. And also, like, I will do everything in my power to help catch you up. I will do everything I can to teach you in a way that you can learn best. But you got to meet me halfway by showing up, by asking questions, by doing the practice work. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my morals. And so yesterday I went down and I was talking to my administrating principal, and we just had a really good conversation. And I was very honest about where I stood as far as my experience for the last 2 weeks of teaching and the things that didn't sit well with me. And he explained it from his point of view and the things that can be changed or molded or I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like the things that have some flexibility, and then the things that are like, sorry, this is just the way that it is. And I can accept that, because it's not like he makes the rules. There's education that makes the rules. There's Wyoming State that makes the rules. There are certain benchmarks that we have to hit as a school and those kinds of things. And so like, I understand the places that they can't budge. He understands the places that I cannot budge. And then what places can we be flexible to find some agreement? And so when you're honest about your situations, honest about your feelings, honest about your morals, honest about your relationships with people, and you can have those conversations, all of a sudden it doesn't feel like you have to please them, that you can still be yourself within the boundaries of the situation that you're in. And so these things, understanding them, implementing them, using them, still learning and growing from them have helped me so much. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Quick recap of the 5 is to set boundaries, learn to say no, practice assertiveness. And I say practice because it's not something that comes naturally to a lot of people that are people pleasers. Number 3 is to practice that self-approval and celebrate yourself. Number 4, identify your triggers and set up a game plan before going into situations. And then number 5 is to be honest. Be honest with the people, be honest with yourself, be honest with the situations. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. This was so much fun. I love doing these live videos. If you're not already, make sure that you go to my YouTube channel and click subscribe because I upload them all there. And you can also click the link in my bio. I have free resources in there, resources to help you stay on track with your lifestyle and health goals. I have resources in there if you're a business owner and you need help with your daily method of operations, your DMO. I've got supplements that help with the skin. I took a shower this morning and I was like, oh my gosh, my skin looks so good. I look so young. My hair is so healthy. I've lost, let's see, how many pounds? 8 pounds since teaching on the teacher diet of chaos and no time, right? But my supplements have definitely helped fill in the gaps where I'm missing in my nutrition, which is huge for me. I have home workout videos that you can do on my YouTube, and also a online Get Fit program that you can download. So much stuff. If you haven't already, be sure you click that link in my bio and ask me any questions that you have. You can leave them here. You can send me a personal message. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.